Hey gang, Kawaii50 here with another Fake Grand Order video, and I wanted to talk about the upcoming schedule. And the reason I wanted to talk about this upcoming schedule right now is I've sort of I don't know if you want to call it an epiphany or something like that, but I've just sort of had this feeling and this realization as I've been, plugging away at other games, plugging away at Star Rail, plugging away at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, trying a couple of other gotchas here and there, things like that. But when it comes to FGO's schedule, I went and I looked at my game and I was like, oh, that's right. It's time for the Bespectacled Individuals event. Didn't really notice that, I totally forgot that was completely up. Cool, fancy, silly, but is it a lot of that, moving forward, that feeling of progress, that big bit of story that we want to see? Not necessarily. And this sort of seems like the rut that FGO has fallen into on JP as well. And I know people will think that, oh hey, maybe this is just because they aren't sure if they want to do an Arc 3. No, there's going to be an Arc 3. There's absolutely going to be an Arc 3. They were previously hiring for it. This game isn't going to go away until it stops making money. But the question is how long is it going to continue to stay on top? Even looking at this year on NA, I mean, we're getting Trom this year, and on top of that, we are also getting Nahui Mictlan moved up, which is great. That is absolutely fantastic. I'm super happy that we are actually getting that chapter moved up because I want to see more of the main story. I want to see more of where this story goes. But these updates are getting few and far between when it comes to main story chapters. We're getting a lot of interludes, a lot of tiny little additional events, and I'm not talking about things like summer and all that. We've got the summer event coming up this year. We've got Gouda Gouda events, things like that. Those things I consider staple. Summer, Gouda Gouda, Christmas, all of that good stuff. But going beyond that, I mean, what was the last big story chapter? Was that truly Paper Moon back in May? Is that the absolute last big major story chapter that we have seen? Are we legitimately getting events this year, like, say, for example, the main interlude Oku release campaign, things like that, main interlude Imaginary Scramble, with them going back and being like, by the way, this event, you should have played it because we have decided to retroactively turn it into a canon story chapter. And this is really where I am starting to struggle, and where I feel like a lot of people are starting to struggle with Fake Grand Order. A lot of us came here for the story. Arc 1, fantastic, incredible. Even all of the extra media that came out surrounding those, like the Babylonia anime. It is a truly phenomenal tale, going through even some parts of Epic of Remnant. While they might have been, fairly hit or miss in some aspects, overall Epic of Remnant was a super neat, cohesive interlude story that came out in a decent amount of time and felt really, really good to push through. But now we've been hitting the Lost Belts, and it's been fairly difficult, if I've got to say. Not so difficult in what we're being presented with. The stories of the Lost Belts as they come out have been really, really good, and I am super invested every single time one of them comes out. But then we started getting into, the 0.5 variations of the Lost Belt. I'm like, okay, they want to go ahead and try to tie up any loose ends with things like Tunguska, things like, the big Ashiyodomen Kintoki battle, things like that. I get it. We need to tie up those loose ends before we move on. But now it's getting to the point where we're not even getting many of those interlude sections anymore. Even the interlude sections are going and are getting drawn out, and we're hitting a point where we just get an event here or there, but beyond that, not really a lot going on in terms of advancing the main plot. And this is the main thing that worries me. When you have a game like Fake Grand Order, and so much of its enticement, its pull, is focused on not only the characters, but the driving force of the main story, and you start to pace those main story updates further and further apart, well, I just don't know. I just don't know how the community reacts to it. Like, all the stuff I've seen online, this might be a problem. When there's so many people that are invested in your main story, but there's always that fear of being like, you know, if this stuff takes so long to come out, am I going to check out? Am I just going to check out because I don't want to wait that long for the next chapter of my story to be completed? I mean, we've gotten so many video games out there, like in general, both retail as well as mobile, with incredible stories, incredible characters, things we can get invested in what feels like, from the outset, a complete and beautiful packaged experience. And with FGO and the length that they're taking to release all of these story chapters, you kind of have to wonder, like, is there really a plan? Are we just making up some of these things as we go along? Are we altering things? Are we changing things purposefully to try and drag it out? Is that entirely the point at this point? Just pull as much story out of it as we can. And this makes me worry as well for things like Arc 3, when Arc 3 does eventually come out. If Arc 3 comes out, do I really want to sit there and wait, and would I be content with something like 1 story chapter a year, maybe 2 story chapters a year if I get lucky, when you've got so many other games out there delivering multiple story patches over the course of a single year and are further advancing their plot? I don't just have to name the big names like, you know, Genshin and Star Rail. I can name things like Blue Archive. I can name things like Arknights. All of these other games out there are having their own story and are clearly doing their utmost to push it forward, to give players what they want, give players that emotional investment, give players that payoff. And I don't know, I just have to wonder with FGO, like, is that what they're trying to do anymore? And that's part of the reason why, you know, I'm doing other stuff on the channel, is with FGO continuing to pace things further and further and further and further apart. I actively want to make stuff for people. I want to make videos for people to watch. I enjoy the process. I enjoy editing. All of that is incredible to do. I have tons of fun doing it. I love seeing people's comments. But when FGO stuff is starting to slow to a trickle, I mean, what choice do other people have than starting to look at other games that are releasing stuff faster? That's why we're doing Star Rail stuff. That's why you're seeing me play more fighting games, enjoying not only the thrill of the fight, but I enjoy putting up some matches, whether I win or lose, so everyone can see, you know, hey, this is something to check out. This is something neat and entertaining. And with FGO, I used to be able to do that whole output where it was like several FGO videos a week, several different things that we could put up here. But I'm just wondering, I don't think I can specifically release several FGO things a week. I can release a bunch of stuff around like main events and things like that. Absolutely, we can see a bunch of things regarding that. But when it comes to, you know, FGO releases going forward with how much they're spacing everything out, I mean, there's just gonna be a slowdown. And that's honestly, I can't say that's me. I really can't. And I will stand by that. So, no, FGO ain't going anywhere. I'm still definitely enjoying the game, but I felt like I had to get this out there as I had my epiphany, like, wow, stuff is really starting to slow down. I hope it picks up soon. I hope we get more things in the future. I really do enjoy FGO and will continue to play it, probably until the death of the server, honestly. I feel like I'm just locked in, like, on a base level, but I gotta wonder if I wasn't already super duper locked in on this, if I knew the schedule as it was the way it was, like, is there even really much of a point to get invested in the story at this point when release updates are so few and far between, to the point that I will likely forget the previous plot when the next bit comes out? Anyway, ramble over. I just felt like I really needed to get that off my chest. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let me know if there's anything you're in particular excited for. Let me know if you would like to see them up the schedule in FGO for releases. I don't think we can go full Korea and try to catch up to JP, because I feel like that would absolutely destroy the server. Utterly, no joke. But would you like to see, you know, maybe 3 story chapters a year or something like that? Let me know down below. Anyways, gang, that's it for me, Kawaii50. I hope you all have a phenomenal day, and I'll see you all in the next one.